Hi, my name's Aiden.
And I'm Jake.
And welcome to History and Haunts. Welcome back to another episode of History and Haunts.
Woohoo!
We're here for, what is this, week 4 now?
That's right.
That's crazy. We've made it so far.
That is right.
We're almost at episode 5.
Is that true?
Yes.
Nice.
I enjoy doing this so much that sometimes I wish we could record more than one episode a week.
Really?
Yeah. I actually really like recording and posting the episodes.
Well, I told her when she started this to not have a scheduled plan of when to upload and just start uploading. and she was very determined to upload them on one singular day every single week. And then she was like, "What day?" And I was like, "So you want to follow the schedule, but you don't know what day. You're limiting yourself to how much you can put yourself out there, which, a growing podcast, you want
some consistency in a growing podcast.
No, you want some consistency when you're developed. You're trying to get your name out there. You're trying to get people to. I'm serious, dude. That's how people do it, man.
Yeah.
That's how look at Mr. Beast, man. You ever seen his ideology of how he became like the biggest?
No, I haven't. I've only eaten his chocolate bars. Other than that, I know nothing about him.
By the way.
Very I like that chocolate one. Bars. The peanut butter crunch one. That's the best one. Other than that, I wouldn't buy them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Beast.
But, it's just consistency. Just continuous uploads.
We're being consistent. We haven't missed a Friday.
Well, you just tell me when to record this and we record. So I'm just saying, man. You've already destined yourself to every Friday, so once a week.
Yeah, well, I also don't think I have time to edit multiple times a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now that you're working.
Yeah, I had to go back to work. That was really sad. Welcome back to nursing. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't great.
Jesus. Sounds like you're, one of your family members just died.
No,
relax.
I just had to go back to corporate healthcare, that's all. Anyway, enough about that, because I could have an entire podcast about that. I could talk for hours about healthcare. This is not a healthcare podcast. And today, we're actually keeping it in West Virginia today. You know how last week we were in West Virginia?
Did you confirm that we were in West Virginia?
I did confirm.
Okay.
We are still in West Virginia. Today we are visiting the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. That's quite the name, isn't it?
Yes. It's a very strange name. Sounds like something in like Fallout 4.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Okay. I love a good asylum. Do you?
Don't care for them.
Really?
Yeah, they're terrifying.
Oh. Well, yeah, that's great. That's why I love a good asylum, because they're scary.
Yeah, they're terrifying.
Uh-huh. This one?
I bet the people in there
hated life.
Are so scary.
Well, they put all sorts of people in asylums back in the day that probably didn't really need to be in, like, mental institutions,
What era are we looking at today?
We're starting in the 1850s.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. Yeah, I know. You can do it. I'll just edit that. Or maybe I'll leave it. I don't know. The reason why I love an asylum is because there's always, like, a lot of dark history just because of how terrible asylums back in the day were, and they're just always haunted. This one's especially good. I've researched a few other asylums in the time that I've been researching, but this one's my favorite.
Are there still asylums today, and there's just another name for them?
They don't call them asylums anymore.
Mental institution or rehabilitation center or something like that.
Probably, but I think they're a little less intense. Like, these were intense.
How so?
Well, people would spend, like, all of their life there just, like, tied down to beds, and it'd be, like, so many people in one room. And some of these people didn't even really need to be admitted. Like, they went to this mental health place for things that were so stupid, like novel reading.
Oh, I mean, this is like
The 1850s, yeah.
fighting for slavery era.
Yeah, this is back in the day when it was just wacky. So, anyway, let's give you some basic information about this asylum.
Hmm.
We're in Weston, West Virginia, and the goal was to provide a new take on mental health care. They wanted to get away from the dark ages and come into a new era. So the wings of the asylum were staggered to allow for lots of light and fresh air, which sounds nice, doesn't it?
It does.
The grounds were immaculate, I'm told, and they had walkways and gardens to provide stimulating outlets for the patients. So the patients could spend a lot of time outside with nature, and just I think that's probably also good. We all need to spend a little more time outside. Would you agree?
Sure, sure, absolutely.
The world is a beautiful
Buy a
place.
motorcycle, man. Just ride out.
Oh dear. No motorcycle talk right now. The asylum was built between 1858 and 1881. It was designed to house
So
two.
it took them 20 years to make?
Yeah, well, they've really got to expand on this, or they expand upon it, and it also takes a while to build things because you don't got D.R. Horton with their 57 million employees building it on a day.
Yeah, you're right.
They took time. So it was originally designed to house 250 patients, and it was supposed to be self-sufficient, like they wouldn't need anything from the surrounding towns. It had farmland, it had dairy farming, it had water stuff, like, you know, and a cemetery. The founder, Thomas Kirkbride, thought patients should be buried rather than cremated like they typically were as a sign of respect. It's also located on 666 acres.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, I know. I feel like, why didn't they just get 1 acre less or 1 acre more?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little superstitious, don't you think?
That's strange.
666 acres. You're asking for trouble.
What's the significance behind that number anyway?
That's like the devil's number, I think.
How?
Isn't it?
Doesn't it have something to do? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's just not a good number. Because it's. Listen, I'm not getting into the Bible stuff today because
I was going to say, isn't it Bible related?
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to get into it deeply, but basically it's just representative of like the devil or something.
Okay.
666 is not it. So anyway, I just thought it was funny that this dark haunted place was located on 666 acres.
Initially, it wasn't dark though, right?
Maybe it wasn't intended to be dark, but I think it got dark pretty quickly.
Okay.
So in 1861, the construction was interrupted by the Civil War. That's also why it took so long to build. We had wars going on.
Makes sense.
And eventually, they reorganized the government of Virginia and got money to resume the construction a year later. So in 1863, West Virginia became a state, and the hospital was renamed the West Virginia Hospital for the Insane. It opened for its first patients on October 22nd, 1864. They received 9 admissions, all of which were women. And I think that just goes to show the time, because they probably saw a woman reading a book and were like, "Oh, off to the insane asylum,"
Wait, when was the witch era? Was that in the United States?
Yeah, Salem, Massachusetts. We need to go there.
That's right. What era was that? Was that around this time period?
I think that was like 1700s.
How was it?
I'm
not familiar at all with that stuff.
Maybe asylums are like the new witch things. I don't know. In 1800s.
Yeah.
Rather than, because they can't probably burn women at the stake, but they can lock them up. So there you go. That works instead. The first patient was said to suffer from domestic trouble. What the fuck does that even mean?
Maybe they were starting problems.
What kind of... Their husband probably beat them and they didn't like it. So they said they had domestic troubles. 1864 was a very busy year for the asylum. It was used during the Civil War, actually, and it became known as Camp Tyler. The South Wing served as barracks, and the main foundation of the asylum served as a stable. And then there was also Confederate raiders who took all of the supplies in 1864.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's
Definitely something from Fallout 4.
really. You think? What is Fallout 4?
It's a game. If anybody, people will know it, but they'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll have to look it up later.
Yeah.
Okay. The logbook, which had like the admissions, showed that the earliest patients were admitted due to grief, novel reading, seduction, laziness, menopause.
Really?
Yes, isn't that
Poor
bizarre?
bastards.
I don't understand why going
They're
through,
aging, so.
yeah, why going through menopause would get you stuck in an asylum, but I'm also not from the 1850s. Superstition, masturbation, and tuberculosis.
Damn, they got put in there for tuberculosis. So it sounds like people are in here for things that have nothing to do with, you know, psych evaluation.
Well, back in the day, minus the tuberculosis, there wasn't really a good understanding of mental health, or really a tolerance of it, like today, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if someone got a little too sad or something, being too superstitious, a lot of it seems like related to religion, I think. Like the superstition, the masturbation, the seduction, and the laziness. Those seems very religious related, maybe.
Yeah.
It also just served as a dumping ground for unwanted people. Like if you had a kid and you didn't want it, off to the asylum. In 1873, they completed the segregated area for the black people. So, yeah, even in asylums, they were still segregated. In all aspects of life, they were segregated. Now, this is what I meant by it got pretty dark here pretty quick. Remember how I said it was built to hold 250 patients?
Yeah.
And it was built in what, 1860, basically?
Yeah.
Within 20 years, by 1880, the hospital already had 717 patients living there. Overcrowded as fuck.
Wow. What was the room? What was the room number?
I don't know how many rooms. I just know that it was supposed to hold 250 patients max. And now it's got, what, 3 times that almost?
Mm-hmm.
And overcrowding was a very common trend. By 1938, they had 1,661 patients there. By 1949, they had over 1,800. And by the 1950s, they had over 2,400.
Oh my goodness.
Insanely overcrowded. No pun intended.
That is crazy.
Isn't that crazy? My brain can't even comprehend how you would put 2,400 people in a space that's supposed to fit 250. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, that sounds wild, man.
Yeah. They had a women's unit built in the 1890s, which is probably good to keep the women away from all the men to prevent any sexual assaults and stuff like that. They also had other buildings built in the 19th century, which included a kitchen, laundry, shops, storage, and even a forensics building. In 1949, they built a criminally insane ward so they could separate the criminals from the general population, which again, that was probably a good idea.
Yep.
This was a very, very busy place that had many issues, as you can imagine. Overcrowding was definitely one of them.
Yeah, that is horrible.
I know. Violence was extremely common due to the lack of supervision and the overcrowding. I can imagine you put some people in here who are not mentally well to begin with, and then you put them all together in small rooms with too many people. Obviously, violence is going to happen. Even if it wasn't mentally ill people that you put in a room with too many people, violence would probably happen.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah. The patient-to-doctor ratio was often 248 patients to one doctor.
Oh, even that sounds shitty, man.
Yeah. Next time I complain about being over ratio at work, maybe I'll think about that.
Uh-huh.
At least I don't have 248 patients. That'd be like practically my entire hospital.
Yeah, but is it like a primary health type thing where it's like, all right, come see me if you have a problem?
Probably, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't.
so it's how many primary care patients are there per
Oh,
doctor
God.
nowadays? You know what I'm
They
saying?
probably have so many.
Schedule them out 6 months in advance. Remember when I was looking for my primary? It was like our earliest appointment is like it was like 3.5 months.
2027.
It was like 3.5 months out, and like I needed something signed. Like it was something
Yeah.
stupid like that, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like I gotta wait 3 months for this?"
I blame all the old people here personally.
All right.
Look at my grandma. Sorry, grandma.
Oh
but
no! What are you doing, man?
she's going to the doctor like every other week. No wonder we can't get an appointment.
You're right. Maybe they take.
She's taking up all the appointments.
Maybe they take geriatrics as like priority. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was trying to do like a sick visit or something once, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we're just never going to be able to do a sick visit. So you should just go to quick care."
Yeah, sorry, we can't schedule you. That's
I hope you feel better.
call 911 and go to the ER.
Yeah, no, literally, doctors would send people to the ER too for stupid shit, and we'd be like, "Yeah, no, we like that's not how this works." And they'd be like, "But my doctor ordered it." I'm like, "Your doctor's just being a lazy cunt."
Jesus.
I didn't say that, but
I would say that half of these patients that when I used to transport on an ambulance, half of these patients that I would take to the hospital are, oh, my doctor called and said to come in if I was having, foot pain after post surgery. I guess it's understandable, but like stupid shit, like, oh, my pacemaker needs fucking calibration, so I need to go to the ER. I was like, oh, but by the way, it's at this hospital in another county. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure thing, buddy. Get the fuck in. Did he by chance tell you to call it at 3 a.m. though, or are you just fucking with me? Like, what's the problem here?
I could understand that they needed to go to the hospital if their pacemaker's fucked up, or if their doctor told them, "Oh, you gotta go to the hospital to do this." But why at 3 a.m.? That's just the time.
Anyway.
They would also come to the hospital all the time and be like, "My doctor said there's a room ready for me and that he called and spoke with you."
Oh my God.
And I was like,
I've had that too. Yeah.
No. No one has called me. No one has spoken with me. And we definitely don't reserve rooms in the ER.
Yeah, I'm sitting there.
That's not how this works.
I'm sitting there at 4 a.m. in the ER room, scratching my. Never mind.
Scratching his ass.
I guess.
Or
I'm just balls. Like, scratching my head like you said there's a room ready for you? And then my dumb ass goes up to the nurse. Hey, this patient has a bed waiting for him upstairs.
Oh, she wanted to fuck you up, I bet, because that's just stupid.
I'm just holding this laptop. Can I just get the signature? Please. Can I get the signature? I need to leave. So, I gotta try to get 20 minutes of sleep.
Moral of the story, guys. If your doctor says, "Oh yeah, I called the ER for you and they have a room ready," just know your doctor's a lying piece of shit because there's no rooms ready and he did not call.
Matter of fact, your doctor is just a piece of shit, period. Okay? Just know that.
Your doctor doesn't.
Healthcare is a lie. Healthcare is a fucking scam and a lie, and it's bullshit.
Oh my. We're really letting our feelings out today.
What's going on here, man?
What's going on at this place? I don't even know where I was.
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
We were talking about how many patients the doctor has, I think.
248 to 1. I see it right there. There it is.
Yes. There was also the issue of 8 individuals sharing a room that was meant for one. So that's just too many. The earliest issue that is recorded, I guess. I guarantee there was issues before this, but this is the earliest one I could find was October 1935. A patient set fire to the 4th floor, causing complete destruction.
Of the entire building?
Of the whole... 4th floor? It must have been, right? Of the whole building.
But imagine
Or at least of all the fourth
anything
floor.
above the fourth floor is coming down if the whole thing was the fourth floor was on fire. 5 and 6 are fucked.
And completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 and 6, I mean they're all gone. But this is just an example of how little supervision there was for these mentally ill patients that they were able to set fire to the whole floor. Luckily no one died, and there was many fires. This is just the most well-known one because of the destruction and the fact that it cost so much to rebuild. It cost them $155,000 to rebuild back in 1935. I don't know
Wow.
what that is today, but I bet it's a lot.
I'm sure.
Patients were subjected to medical experiments as a way to treat them, and that's in air quotes because it's not really treatment. There was a variety of terrible healing methods, and again, in quotation marks. Bloodletting was one of them. We all know what that is, right? Oh, you're sick? Let me just cut your wrist and let you bleed out a little because that'll make you feel better.
Mm.
So there was that. Insulin coma therapy. No.
No thanks.
That's just no. Seclusion therapy. We all know that seclusion
It's the worst thing for your
for
health.
your mental health. What
it gets to anybody.
In prisons?
What?
What is it called in prisons when you're by yourself? Segregation? The shoe? What is
The shoe? Okay.
What is that called? Solitary.
Solitary confinement?
Yes, solitary. We all know that solitary confinement, segregation, or seclusion therapy, where whatever that you want to call it, where it's you by yourself in a locked room, is no good. That's not going to help your mental health at all.
Absolutely not.
And it's going to cause a number of other issues.
Mm-hmm.
Confinement cribs. Look up pictures of those. It's crazy. That's like the type of thing where like they would put someone in a crib and tie them down.
They were doing that here?
Yes. Ice baths, and not the therapeutic kind, because it's not like you're choosing to do this. They just dunk you in. Electroconvulsive shock therapy. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's pretty crazy. They still use it today, but in very, very rare cases where like you either have depression or bipolar or something of the sort that is entirely non-responsive to medication. They still might try postpartum depression.
They do it.
That sort of
they
thing.
do things like that for like severe back pain as well. It kind of looks like 12, you're getting like a 12 lead on your back.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Very mild cases of like electrotherapy.
Well, this is not mild. This induces seizures, and it changes the brain chemistry and can reverse symptoms of some conditions. And like I was saying, it's still done today, but it's much more controlled, and it's done under anesthesia and with muscle relaxers because people would be subjected to this therapy, and you're having a seizure. They would bite off their tongue. They would break their teeth. Sometimes they would even break their bones from being so taut from the seizures that were being induced.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, terrible. Another treatment was forced sterilization. So they would castrate you, I guess, or sterilize the women. Wacky.
What the hell does that even mean?
They would get rid of your testicles.
Oh.
Or get rid of a woman's uterus, probably.
Oh my goodness, they could do that back in the day?
Yeah, just force you to do it.
Hopefully it was like a controlled environment, and they didn't like take a scissor, just scissor your, that's crazy.
I don't think anything in this place was controlled.
That sounds horrible.
In the 1900s, they took the solitary to a whole new level, and they would chain anyone who acted out to the walls for months.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Like, I don't know if they thought this was like an actual treatment or if it was just because they had so many patients there that they didn't have the time to try to manage them. But either way, that's just not acceptable. And of course, the famous lobotomies, those happened there. They did an ice pick aka the transorbital lobotomy, which was the favorite lobotomy of the time. In case anyone has not heard of a lobotomy or knows or doesn't know what it goes through the eye and into the brain to sever the prefrontal cortex, which influences attention, emotional regulation, memory, impulse control, and more. So it kind of just makes you calmer, I would say.
Wow. Yeah, isn't like the frontal lobe, that's where your emotion comes in?
I think so. So, yeah, it just knocked him down a notch, I guess, as getting an ice pick through your brain would.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
I know. They actually became home to this asylum. I mean, became home to the West Virginia lobotomy project in the 1950s. So there was just like so many lobotomies happening, unfortunately. In 1952, there was one doctor alone who actually performed 228 lobotomies in 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
He was just ice picking everyone.
Did they like, I guess, subdue these patients beforehand? Like, are we talking sedation,
We'll get to that in a moment.
paralyzing? I feel like you have to. There's no way somebody is.
All right, well, since you're asking, they used the electroconvulsive therapy rather than anesthesia. So they would make them go through that, and then, you'd be in the post-ictal phase, essentially. And they'd be kind of blah, calm and whatnot.
Did they ever interview anybody afterwards? And like, hey, did you feel this?
I don't think they cared, really. They just saw the results.
That is so inhumane. That is absurd.
It is absurd.
I can't believe that nobody spoke out against this.
It was of the time. There's this one girl, I forget who it is. There was a president, I don't remember who, and it was either his daughter or his sister who had a lobotomy performed on her. So they were just going crazy.
In the 50s?
I think so, yeah. I'd have to look it up. She's
Who was the president in 1950?
I don't know.
Go. Was it Abe Lincoln? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know, like, Abe Lincoln.
It was 1854, I think.
And then there's the Kennedy.
Which one?
John F. Kennedy.
What year was he president?
Mitt Romney? Or was that Obama's opponent?
I think that was Obama's opponent. You know what's so crazy? I think about that to this day. What was that dude's name? I can't believe you just said that.
Oh my gosh.
Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Was that even his name?
It was. I remember. Because people had bumper stickers.
McCain?
McCain? Maybe that was Obama's other opponent.
I think it was. Harry McCain?
No. That's just...
I think I was 8 when Obama was trying to be president, so I don't really remember.
I was 6. I remember they made us vote for a president in school. Like, they took us to the library and they had these little voting boxes set up on the computer and we all had to vote.
Are you kidding me?
It was weird. Like 6 years old.
Probably like, who's Obama? Obama?
Oh my gosh. What was I saying? Oh, okay, yes. So, Dr. Freeman, he's one of the doctors. He performed over 4,000 lobotomies, and he had a 14% death rate, which I guess for stabbing an ice pick into someone's brain, that's not that bad, but also kind of bad. And then if they were going to do a chemical lobotomy, they would use chlorpromazine, which is an antipsychotic. As if the patients weren't suffering enough, the staff, they were frequently raped and attacked. And one nurse even went missing.
The staff were raped?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There was one nurse that went missing, and 2 months later, she was found dead at the bottom of an unused staircase.
She was missing for 2 months?
Yep. In the building. No one knows how she ended up there or who did it. There was also a string of patient-on-patient murders. Muriel C. Creamer was a patient in Ward C.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know. And she was strangled with a muslin cloth. She was tied to the bed at the feet, waist, and hands to prevent her from leaving, and her roommate, Wanda Maxine Janes, admitted to the murder. She stated the motive was due to Muriel making improper advances. How sad. 3 patients shared a room. One of them was mute, possibly Dean Metheny, and 2 of them ganged up on him and then tried to hang him with a bedsheet. Joe and Big James, or James Wood and David Mason, depending on the source, were the ones involved here. It didn't work, hanging him. So guess what they did instead?
What?
They crushed his head with a metal bed frame. His date of the murder is September 1897, and the 2 that killed him stayed there until the asylum closed. Other murders are thought to have occurred, but they remain undocumented. In 1992, George Edward Bodie died after getting into a fight with another patient. And Brian Scott B. committed suicide and was not found for 8 days. That just goes to show like how poorly monitored these people were.
Yeah.
It's estimated that 30,000 people died here, and there is a very expansive cemetery on site. At one point, the state tried to exhume and identify the bodies, but they stopped after finding 4,000.
In the graveyard?
Yes.
Wow.
I need to look up that graveyard more. I didn't really do that for this episode just because there was so much other stuff going on, but that must be an insane graveyard. So, for the haunting portion of this, there's basically a haunted story for every level of the asylum, and there are even some specific apparitions. So first we're going to do the levels, and then we will cover the individual spirits. First, though, there is a theory called the stone tape theory. This building is the largest hand-cut stone masonry building in North America, and certain stones that contain quartz have the ability to record traumatic events, and that's why they think this place is so haunted.
Mm.
So, getting onto the haunted rooms, the lobotomy recovery room. Visitors report feeling nauseous, and they've been scratched.
Is this like a historical museum or something now?
I think you can go there, and it does act as a museum, and they have like different displays and whatnot, but you can also do like haunted tours. There's also Ward F, which is on the 3rd floor. This is where the most violent males were held, and you can actually see the damage from the male. I feel like calling them prisoners because this place was basically a prison.
It sounds like a prison.
But from the violent male patients, I guess you can see it. People often feel an overwhelming sense of pressure here and difficulty swallowing, possibly because this is where the mute man was murdered. You know, the one that was hung and then crushed?
Yep.
Yeah, so that would make sense as to why you feel pressure and difficulty swallowing. It's known as the bedpost murder room. It has cold spots, and you'll often hear quiet cries. And the murderers are said to scratch and push people. In Ward F, there's also like a feeling of nausea and an unexplained presence. 4th floor has 2 very active wards, and it's considered to be the most terrifying floor. The Ward T was for alcoholics and the rehab wing. Visitors are sometimes attacked. They'll feel aggressive forces, and chairs will be dragged. Ward R is the other one on the 4th floor, and people will see shadow figures and doors closing on their own. The medical center, this is where the lobotomies here were performed on people as young as 4. And
Jeez.
why does a 4-year-old need a lobotomy? The answer is they don't.
I wouldn't think so.
No. The morgue is also located here, so people will hear cursing and see shadow figures. The isolation cells, this is where staff sent the patients if they were uncontrollable. There was a boxer here who suffered from head injuries, and he was kept in there. He ripped off the door and left dents in the steel, and then he handed the door to the nurse and returned to his room after that. How strong?
Do we have a name for that?
I don't. I just have that he was a boxer.
Wow.
People will feel violent energies down here and voices saying, "Get me out of here," and they'll often be pushed or scratched. Ward 2 is on the 2nd floor, and people will feel an overwhelming sense of grief and suffocation. This is supposedly where a double suicide was committed, and a murder also occurred where the patient was stabbed 17 times. Finally, the electroshock room. There's moaning, hysterical laughing, slamming doors, and banging. Now, for the specific spirits, there's Lily, who's a very friendly child on Ward 4. She's active and mischievous. She wears a white dress. And there's 2 stories of how she got here. One story says her parents died during the Civil War and she was dropped off. Another says that she was born at the hospital to a patient who committed suicide. She died at age 8 from pneumonia, and people also often hear her laughing. There was an EVP that captured a girl saying, "Thank you for the snack." And people will leave toys in the room intentionally, and they will see them being moved or thrown, the toys. There's the kitchen ghost. In this area, workers and visitors feel like they're being watched. It's a grayish woman who stares at people, and there's a negative energy just around that room. Jacob.
No thanks.
Yeah, no thanks.
Not going.
Oh, well, I want to go.
By yourself.
We'll be going. We'll do a haunted tour of West Virginia.
I don't mess with sharks. I don't mess with haunted stuff.
Did you not see all the old houses you just went to and on a haunted, possibly haunted ship in Charleston?
Don't mess with it.
You could definitely do some more haunted stuff.
No
We'll be going. Don't listen to him. Jacob
I'm
Ayers.
busy that day.
Jacob Ayers, he was an alcoholic and he suffered from delusions. He was a patient in 1892 and he still lingers the hallways looking for his beer. There's a nurse named Elizabeth who is seen on the 3rd floor. Ruth is located in the Civil War wing, which is the 1st floor, and she hates men and will throw things at them. And then she also pushes people against the walls.
I just feel like, how true is this stuff? Because,
I guess you got to go there and find out for yourself.
well, that's what I'm saying, man. And, like, is there good evidence of, like, things like this happening?
Yes.
Because I've never seen it in videos.
The EVPs with the people talking on them, those are crazy.
Do you know if Ghost Adventures has done an episode on this
I don't know.
asylum? Because this sounds like a very active place, if these are true.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like something like Ghost Adventures would have traveled to. I bet they have. I'm going to look that up after this. I bet they have.
You should totally look it up. There's also some general hauntings. There's figures that walk the halls, the floating balls of light, lots of just random shadow figures, and people still say that they see like doctors or nursing staff wandering the halls. Today it acts as a museum and a site for tours. There's more than 120 pieces of art on display, all of which were made by the patients.
Really?
Yep. Isn't that crazy? If there's a place that was going to be haunted, it's this, because not only did they live here and die here, but their art is still there, and just things that take them from being like a story to like being a real person,
Oh, yeah.
There's pottery, paintings, and quilts. There's also other displays, which include the nursing logs, the interviews, and storyboards. It's only open from April to November, though.
I wonder why.
Maybe the weather. Maybe it gets cold. I don't know. There's a whole lot of tours you can go on. There's tours of just the 1st floor of all 4 tours with the auxiliary buildings. You could do photography tours, haunted tours, nighttime tours, ghost hunting tours, 8 hours overnight in the buildings. And you can even just go by yourself and do a ghost hunt.
No thanks.
Let's do that.
No.
No?
I don't know how to do that.
Well, we could figure it out.
No thanks.
Well, guys, that's the Allegheny Asylum.
That was very interesting, and it sounds like a very active place.
It does. I'll post pictures, obviously.
Do you know if all 666 acres are still owned by this facility?
I don't. That's an excellent question. I would look it up, but I don't want to do all that typing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of work, isn't it?
I'd get committed for laziness.
Okay.
I feel like if they have the outbuildings and the cemetery there, I bet it's a lot of it. I don't know if it's all of it, though, because like some of it was farmland,
Yeah.
So maybe not all of it.
So did the people work? They have them working on the farms, or was that like somebody's job?
I didn't see that anyone like stories of people working there, but it was supposed to be self-sufficient. So I don't know why they wouldn't be working there.
Yeah.
I really want to visit this place though.
It sounds nice.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't actually sound nice.
It sounds cool.
It does sound cool.
Okay, guys, time for I forgot to give you guys a hint last week.
Oh no.
But I'm going to give you a hint this week. Next week's place, Jake likes it.
Do I?
Yeah, look what it is.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah,
Yeah, he's excited. I might make him do that episode.
Unlikely.
It has a lot of history there because it goes way back to like when the Spaniards came over.
Yep, and we've actually been.
We've been there. This is the first place we'll be covering that we visited, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
So we can post pictures of ourselves in it.
No.
Ooh, that'd be a cool. Can you guess what the next week's episode is and post like the picture of us there?
No.
Yeah, since I'm the one that does all the Instagram stuff, since I'm the one that basically does everything for this podcast, I'll be posting pictures, so don't worry. You will see us.
I do a lot of work behind the scenes. She just doesn't realize.
Oh. Anyway, any other hints? It's really cool.
Star-shaped.
That's too much of a hint, but okay. I guess not. All right, guys. Well, please, 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 if you feel like it, contact us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to, what are you laughing at? He's laughing at me, guys. We'd love to hear any questions, comments, suggestions. If you've been to any place, you could tell us about it. A story, your own event, your own experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of our contact information will be in the description of the episode. We have email, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. So there's ways to contact us. And yeah, until next time, guys.
Yep, we'll catch you.
Bye.